Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 20, round number 8 of the Championship. Welcome to the Circuit de Monaco here in fabulous Monte Carlo, under the lights for the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm your host, Zach RC, and alongside me is my favourite co-commentator with the worst relationship with tyres on the planet. Welcome, Ben, into the commentary box. Ben, how are we doing tonight, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Looking forward to this one.
Should be a very exciting evening, and I hope you pardon the little introduction there. I thought that on the spot as you mentioned to me what you said a matter of moments ago before we went on the air. But yeah, Monaco get into one of the more exciting races of the season, which on paper you wouldn't think that about Monaco, because we've always seen what Monaco's like in real life. It can be quite boring. It's sort of all single file. There's no real challenge on the circuit. But in league racing, it's quite a different story, and it's particularly in this league where we've seen 100% races here. Obviously, it's always at night, so that's always a nice little moment of enjoyment there. And it's almost always chaos. I can't think of one Monaco race I've done here that hasn't been an absolute nightmare for chaos. But there is your defending winner on the screen now. That is Daniel Aron driving a Mercedes this season, as we know. And we're looking to see if perhaps he can go back-to-back, Ben. I mean, because that'd be an interesting feat, or rather, an impressive feat to win Monaco twice in a row.
Yeah, it most certainly will, but it's Monaco. Anything can happen.
Realistically, anyone's got any sort of shout to win in these races, and qualifying, as we know, regardless of whether it's in real life or on league, is absolutely crucial around this circuit, because there is still very little room to overtake as Dan starts the first flying lap. 19 corners on this circuit, which has remained virtually unchanged since its introduction back in 1929, just made slightly more complex, and obviously changed in the interest of safety, that sort of thing as well. So Dan, up the hill then, and up into turns 3 and now 4, going past the Grand Casino on the right there, and heading down towards turn number 5, the end of the first sector. So 18.6 on the board for Dan, down towards the Grand Casino hairpin, into the Grand Hotel hairpin, as Che retires from the session early on.
Jeez, had a bit of a moment. Yeah, he's crashed.
Oh, he's cracked. Well, there we go. I was thinking if we'd forgotten like a quali ban or something like that, but no, it would appear not. So Che then, a very tough opening to this qualifying session. He'll be starting dead last, going into the Grand Prix then, short of us getting anyone joining the session late on. But focusing back on Dan here, going into turn 12, end of the second sector, it's going to be a 52.4 on the board for Dan, and coming into the last couple of corners now towards turns number 18 and 19 through Raskas into the right-hander. Obviously quite bright there, but illuminated by the big yellow Pirelli signs around the outside of the circuit. And through the last corner, charging towards the line to complete the first flying lap of the evening, it will be Dan with a 1 minute 10.7. And you have to be very careful around the circuit, Ben, as I'm sure you're aware, with the pit exit coming up onto the main straight quite early on before obviously going its own way for turn 1 and then rejoining. So that'll be one to keep an eye out for over the course of tonight. Hopefully we don't see any sort of crashes from the pit exit.
Yeah, hopefully not. Let's hope they can keep it clean. I say that. There's walls everywhere. I mean, they're all fighting for positions, so anything can happen really. Just the pit lane exit it's just a nightmare in this game, on this track.
One of many danger points, I should say, on this circuit. And in terms of weather, I'm not entirely sure if we're going to get any sort of rain in tonight's race. I haven't heard anything from anyone, as Ericsson retiring from the session as well. And I'm thinking that could be either a quali ban or perhaps a disconnection. I'm not entirely, memory doesn't serve. I don't believe he's got a quali ban in place. The yellow flag up towards turn 3. That's one of the RBs, if I'm not mistaken. No, that is one of the. Sorry, I'm getting myself all confused. It's the other Williams of Pope, who is out on circuit now and going past where Che crashed. Oh, hello there. And that is a final introduction for our new reserve half.
Right.
Who goes 1 minute 10.2. Well. And Ben, I dare say, I mean, we made an agreement, as obviously you're aware, but the viewers at home aren't aware, that we will start making our predictions during Q1 to give us very little idea as to who's going to perform. And who did you put down as your prediction for tonight's race?
Huff.
You put Huff down. Have you got prior knowledge that I don't?
No.
Okay, so this is also your first time
not.
seeing him perform, yeah?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Surprise then, and all of a sudden that could throw a huge spanner in the works to the usual
Oh, it's happened already.
What's happened there?
The pit lane exit. Wednesday just hit the back of the Kicks Alba.
Okay, right. Well, that is not ideal. Websy there in the third spot at the minute, 1 minute 11.072. which is about almost 8/10, if not 8/10. Yep, 8/10 off of half time to kick us off here in Q1. One driver I've got my eye on in particular, as you may be aware of, Ben, is Imri, who has taken pole here the last 4 seasons on the spin. This driver has never come to Monaco and not taken pole in this league, but crucially, his best finish around the Principality across those 4 efforts is 4th. He's yet to finish on the podium for a myriad of different reasons. He's on the hard tyres to set his banker lap. I think he's all focused in on Q3 and getting the maximum out of his running there. And even then, he's into P2 with a 1 minute 10.4 on hard tyres. So half might be fast, but Imri on a compound, on the slowest compound, could be even faster.
Yeah, it could be, absolutely. Imri's actually gone a couple tenths shy of Huff on his opening lap, but I get the feeling you create your own luck, and particularly around the streets of Monte Carlo. It's never easy. Just keep it out of bounds and you're probably on for a good race.
We've seen AT go 3rd fastest, but AT's teammate Grumio, for the moment, nowhere to be found. I'm guessing he'll be joining us mid Q1. I can't imagine him sitting it out. As Pope now goes fastest, 1 minute 9.891 on the board for the Williams driver, so a better start compared to his teammate, who is obviously already out of the session along with Ericsson. And we're seeing here, I'm being told that HP Cook's also disconnected. His Xbox may have overheated, which is a concern.
Oh, brilliant.
Normally we're used to the car engines overheating as opposed to the console engine, but hopefully we'll see him come back in. I mean, he hasn't got time on the board yet, so that could be costly for him if he does get to continue racing tonight. As Imri comes into the pit lane after a relatively successful first run. Curtis is there in P8, and obviously given you put forward Huff for your prediction, I'm going to put forward Ethan as my prediction to do well in tonight's race. But, you look at it from a statistical point of view. Ethan has put himself in the points here, in the top 8 in his last 3 efforts around the circuit. So consistency like that, I think, can get him a good solid finish tonight. Hopefully, it'll be an enjoyable race for him. But, I'd say it's Monaco. Everyone's got as much chance of winning this thing as they do of winding up in the barriers. So we'll lock those in. You've got Huff, and I've got Ethan, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Yep, but we'll see what happens. Only time will tell.
I think you're definitely a lot more confident about your choice than you were 10 minutes ago. But we'll have to wait and see on that front. Here comes Curtis into the pit lane for Red Bull. P8 on the board for him right now, 1 minute 11.1. And his teammate TJ is on a flying lap, going through turns 4 and down towards 5 as we speak. End of that first sector, it's at 18.7 on the board for him, as we've seen a car go off. That's the RB of 10th Cannon, who has either I believe may have locked up there, as opposed to letting Curtis go. I'm not entirely sure, but obviously 10th solid run continues. 7th place in the Drivers' Championship. Only 6 points off AT, so it's awfully close in terms of that. And in terms of the Drivers' Championship, we're seeing the same sort of thing we're used to seeing at this point. Grumio gained 10 points on Imri in last week's race at Imola, despite Imri briefly leading the way in that Grand Prix, thanks to a very impressive undercut. And obviously, Ben, we saw the pace of the pit stops from Imri in that race. Quite good to see from him, as he now comes on a set of soft tyres. But Grumio is 64 points clear, and if any night there's a chance for anyone to make up some points on Grumio in the standings, it's this one.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Grumio's been vulnerable to a few mistakes here now and then. Yeah, notoriously had a 10-second for speeding in pit lane around Miami, so he is human. Believe it or not, he is actually a human being, just for the ridiculous lap times I set. So, but yeah, if it's any chat to make up such big points on Grumio, it's this one.
Whether we see him either win the Grand Prix or, again, finish in the barriers, honestly, it's a toss-up. It's a huge, huge toss-up there. As Pope has also retired. I believe he's retiring from P1, though, so he's in the pit lane and all safe there. He's likely going through to Q2. Imri on a soft lap now, so we'll see what sort of time he puts in this time round. We'll have to obviously be careful. I mean, in reality, he's got nothing to lose here, because he's likely into Q2. We're losing 3 drivers at the end of the session, 2 of them being Che and Ericsson. So only the driver with the slowest actual time will be eliminated at the end of this first session. Imri goes 3/10 up in this first sector, which will be enough and a projected 1 minute 10.9, maybe 8. So in that first sector, Ben, he might be matching Pope's pace already from his first lap.
Yeah, it's looking like that way. Yeah, if I was Imri, I think I would have been alright. I think I would have probably just winged it. Just save that extra set off, but ayo. fortune favours the bold, I guess, if you're as he comes through round back now and completes Sector 2 with 51.2.
And he's a full second up on his previous effort. That's the sort of thing we're
Jesus.
dealing with. His qualifying pace is otherworldly this circuit. Perhaps his best on the calendar as he rounds turns 18 and 19. And we'll see what sort of time we're looking at here as he comes towards the flag. It's a 1 minute 9.1. And that is, to be exact, 0.758 up. He is 3/4 of a second ahead of Pope in what could be a very, very strong start to his evening as HB Cook gets back out on track as well. He's managed to get back into the session and he is set to go.
Yeah. Looking through, watching it through to back in this swimming pool, Imri really hooked up, but then through the Rathcast in the final corner, it looked like it took it nice and easy. So no risk taken there for Imri, but it's nice to see drivers going for it.
Definitely. Even in Q1, when there's not really much to gain other than just a place in the second part of qualifying, it's good to see them going all guns blazing from the beginning. We'll see HB Cook. We'll see if he can try and join his teammate up in the top half. We're saying that Alvar is now fully joined the session, so we are just missing the Haas of Grumio. Whether he is joining us, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't received any sort of word that he's on his way in. So, I mean, we won't assume just yet because he may join us before the Grand Prix. But obviously, I mean, if that is the case, we'll be starting from likely dead last unless he joins us in these next few minutes and gets a lap in time. As Imri's retired as Alba just by the barriers there over in the not in the swimming pool chicane, in the harbour chicane, turns 10-11 as HB Cook comes towards the line to begin his next flying run. We'll see what he's got in the tank this time around. 10th candidate in P14. She did her lap on a set of hard tyres, Ben. And if I was her, I'd want to get out there again and go for a run on a set of soft tyres like Imri did.
Yeah, I wonder if 10th was just testing to see how the hard felt for a better understanding maybe towards later on the race. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? But yeah, if I was 10th, I'd want to get out as quick as I can just to get a banker lap on a set of softs.
Lucky Lambert entered the pit lane there. P12, 1 place ahead of 10th. 1 minute 12.1, his best effort so far. And of course, his second week since returning as a full-time driver after unfortunately Rydog had to step aside in terms of commitments outside of racing. Well, obviously, we wish him all the best in that sense. But Lucky back on the grid, as we saw last week, and looking to make an impact and become the next driver to score the first points of the season. It's just him on the grid now, waiting to score those first points. Well, obviously, we can't be best luck because obviously he's only had one race. So, no, Lucky. I think we should see him back up to pace sooner rather than later, but it'll just be interesting to see how he sort of continues to realign himself with the pace. As HB Cook comes towards the line, P12 for the Sauber drive, 1 minute 11.180, which is slightly at risk. You never know. We could see times out of Courtney and Alvar. Alvar's always had a knack for getting himself into the next part of qualifying at the last possible moment. So we'll see what he's got up his sleeve, as I can see the Red Bull in behind Alvar there. That I believe to mind that is Curtis on the circuit. Curtis in P4, so doing a fantastic job as it stands right now. Ethan is still in P11, so my prediction is still going through, which is good. Obviously, yours is up in P3, Ben, so you're doing all right for the time being. And it'll be interesting because it's been a while, truthfully, since we had a reserve come in and make an impact, make it sort of a big impact from day one in terms of fighting with regulars. And we always sort of get that slight, I mean, obviously, I know you haven't been here very long, Ben, but for me, I've always found that I get a slight sense of optimism when I see a reserve performing to a standard like that right out of the gate. So we'll see if Huff can carry that standard on. And if he does, I dare say we could find ourselves with another full-time driver on the grid sooner rather than later, should there be a change, or should there be a change in any of the other teams on the grid.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one, to be fair. That it is nice just to see another name challenging it up there. At least at this moment in Q1, obviously times can change into Q1 and Q2. The track will more than likely ramp up through Q2 and Q3. And then in the race, it's a whole different scenario. Grumio does join with just enough time to do one lap.
And we'll see where Grumio gets put in terms, or rather where he puts himself in terms of raw pace in this first session. I mean, the bar to reach is 1 minute 13.5, so I'm sure he's more than capable of getting himself through that. As there is damage for DJ, who is just, I believe, just broke his end plate going through towards the swimming pool chicane through turns 13 and 14. He's in the pit lane now, but his lap deleted there. 1 minute 11.5, and he is 2 places currently inside the top 15. So, I mean, we'll have to be careful because he could be looking at a place in the drop zone especially now we'll be losing 5 drivers. So another set of drivers who aren't safe as Alvar comes into the pit lane. He's the first car going out. He's got just under 3 minutes as Huff and Curtis broke the tyre. JB there in the 8th spot for Williams for RB. Good stuff from him. So hopefully that pace will improve. Hopefully he'll maintain that pace over the course of the evening. Took a podium here back in season 15. Of course, that race that Pope famously won as a reserve for the Haas team. As PJ makes his way up through turns 3 and 4, keeping the car well controlled. He's safe for the minute, as are both Alpines in that sense are safe. And he's actually up by a 10th here, so we could perhaps see him slide into P8. But 2 minutes to go, Ben, and we are looking now at Alvar, Cottony, Grumio, Che, and Ericsson. That's your bottom 5, but 10th might be. I mean, she's on a lap now, but she might be worried here because there could be a change in play this time round as Grumio gets set to leave the pit lane, I should think. He's got, a minute 50, and he's not moved as of yet, but he should have enough time to get round as JB also retires. TJ going back on the circuit. I mean, he's safe, but he's going for another lap at the moment. One of the Ferraris out on circuit as well. That's Lucky Lamb. Both Ferraris out on circuit. Cottony Goblin has left the pit lane. Lucky is still a bit under pressure. Looking to go for a push lap this time. Minute and a half to go, and there is your reigning champion, Grumio, emerging from the pit lane. And now we'll see whereabouts he stacks up against the pace of Imrie, Pope, Huff. That's your top 3 right now.
Yeah, just watching Ethan's lap through the final corner looks really good. So it could be closer between Ethan and Huff.
All of a sudden, then the prediction means it is game on between myself with Ethan and yourself with Huff, Ben. It could be quite an interesting little scuffle in terms of taking.
Out the barriers, please.
Yeah, we're trying to go for different drivers slightly further down the order to keep them with the same rotation for the race win. So we'll see how that rounds up. I mean, I believe it's currently, I've forgotten the count in terms of, I believe is it 2-all now, or is it 2-1 to me?
It's either 2-1 to you or 2-all.
Should we call it 2-all?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep it fair, just so memory serves. Article I can re-verify the count at some stage. But PJ there in P7, so both Alpines actually making big improvements here as Grumio is coming out of the last corner to start what will be his first and only flying lap in this session. As 10th is still the last driver going through, but she is 2 seconds off of DJ, so big gains need to be made for her to be relieving herself of any pressure in the closing moments. As Alvar comes towards the line, can he make it in time for one more lap? He's going to be very close here. He's just falling shy. That was tight. But Alvar is out. Cottony is
Hey, he tried to get the most out of the shot. Wow, that was close. I was just watching DJ's lap through the numerous again. That was vitally close to that barrier on the left-hand side. Barrier which I so famously hit, if you remember a couple of seasons back, Zach.
Oh, slide there from DJ. I don't remember it personally, but I'm glad you do, because obviously I love a second perspective, especially one that's been on the track in that sense. I couldn't do what you guys do. DJ last corner up towards the line. Can he improve? He does improve, goes to P12. 10th Cannon is out. She did improve, but not enough. Lucky is set to go through, unless both Cottony and Grumio go faster. Cottony towards the line. Cottony P16, so he's out. Grumio may still knock 10th out at the last second. I think luckily he will here as he rounds the last corner. What can Grumio do? The champion goes into second place there, but still half a second off of Imrie. So Imrie with the early advantage as he's seen there in the past. And it's 10th, Cottony, Alvar, Che, and Ericsson all out. Lucky just squeezes in by half a second. Very tight.
Always is.
Yeah, I mean, that's how competitive this league is. Ericsson rejoins. Unfortunately, he can't get himself into a lap. Checkered flag has now fallen. But Grumio is here to play and showing no prisoners as always. P2 for him on the chart, but Imrie fastest. And that could be an ominous warning sign, at least in terms of the 2 qualifying sessions to come, Ben, that he could be in for a monstrous evening as he goes fastest about half second. Pope in 3rd place. Huff, surprising Q1 debut in 4th. Ethan P5, Curtis 6. That's AT, PJ, TJ, Dan. That's your top 10. JB, HP Cook, DJ, Websy, and Lucky all going through. And we lose 10th, Cottony, Alvar, Che, and Ericsson. Those last 2 failing to get times in at the end of Q1. And hopefully, Q2 will be as entertaining as Q1 was, if not more. It will be very exciting to watch. Q2 about to get underway then here in Monaco, and 15 drivers in the running to make it into that elusive Q3 session, which, as we both know, Ben, and all these guys know out here, is crucial to make your way into that session if you want to hope for a good result at this circuit. But it's chaos, so anyone who went out in Q1 to that bottom 5 can still get themselves into a good result. However, it makes your job a lot more difficult if you do not do that. Imri out the pit lane there in the train and weaving around quite a fair bit. I thought he was going to drive it into the wall for a second there, but unfortunate that he didn't. But Pope is leading them out. Of course, Pope, former winner at this circuit, knows the way to P1 around here. Of course, came P2, finished in second place in last season's race, and perhaps would have won in season 18 if not for a late glitch, a late malfunction with his wheel, which allowed Grumio to sail on for an easy win. So Pope's got history here, Ben. And one thing I actually want to ask you about while we're waiting for them to get underway with their first Q2 laps is the strategy, because as we know, that this is the second Grand Prix run at this circuit that will require a mandatory 2-stop, but this is the first time we're running it at a half distance. So we're going to have to squeeze in 3 stints tonight on over the course of 39 laps. So that could be a challenge in itself for these guys.
Yeah, I think it will do. Whether it spices up the race is another thing. We'll see as time as race progresses on. We're probably looking at medium hard or medium hard, depending on allocation. I can't see many using the softs. Obviously they're using them now in qualifying, but at the same time they die off quite quickly in the race.
We'll have to wait and see, but I dare say that for the first time in quite a while in the RDL, there is a race strategy-wise that is completely up in the air, given it's the first instance of this. No one's really got... I mean, I wouldn't say that anyone's really got a tactical advantage in that sense, because everyone's going at this perhaps from a different angle. The drivers obviously figured out things that they know work for them. And I disagree in terms of the tyre compound use. So I dare say we'll see all 3 of them in use at some point during the Grand Prix, whether it be starting, whether it be last stint. But I can't imagine anyone going for a soft tyre run in their second stint. That's the only thing I'll say on that front. But I could definitely see all 3 compounds being used, but obviously the soft tyre is the one in focus for now, as Pope clears the second sector. 52.0 on the board for him. Imri 52.02 on the board, so it's close between these two. These two appear to be part of the top echelon of raw quali pace in tonight's event, as Pope runs towards the line to complete the first lap. 1 minute 10.2, and Imri towards the line. Let's not forget these guys will be on old tyres. 1 minute 10.2.87 for Imri, so it's awfully close there between those two. Only 12 thousandths in it, Ben, so we could be in for a much closer Q2 compared to Q1, as Pope runs the car into the outside walls to let everyone go. And Webbsy goes fastest.
Fair enough. I'm guessing he's on a fresh set of tyres.
We'll have to...
Webbsy has shown quick. They found it. Don't want to alarm his out, but Pope's got a front right puncture. He's
got a puncture for that. Wow. Okay, right. Okay, so we know for sure that Pope was on a was on a used set, and good thing he's managed to get himself. He's managed to get himself a lap in time, because obviously that could have been a lot more dangerous for the former winner around this circuit. It looks like he's had to try and navigate the car back to the pit lane, which could be easier said than done, given that he's got Mercedes rapidly closing in. I believe that's Huff.
How smooth is this?
I don't know. That's actually a fair shock. I mean, well, they're saying that he was running the car. He did run the car into the outside wall going into turn 3. So I will say that may have played into it. If memory serves, Ben, that first race last season in Australia, where you got a puncture in that quite chaotic first lap, if I'm not mistaken, the same sort of thing.
Yeah. Less said about that, the better. I tend to have a lot of punctures in the RDL. I had 2 around here in the space of about 30 seconds. Just because the walls are so sensitive with tyre wear. No wonder if that's what's happened.
That actually sounds more familiar now that you actually mentioned it again. Because obviously you mentioned it to me before we got started, and I had no clue. I couldn't remember for the life of me. I was probably gonna make it a habit of go back and actually watching some of these races in the past, because I mean, I remember bits here and there, but I don't remember a ton, in all truth. That's the thing when these races are 6 months apart, more or less. But Webbsy's fastest. Imri is in second. Pope is in third. Grumio is coming through he's going into the New Welsh chicane now after the tunnel and heading up towards turn number 12. We'll see what his second sector time looks like. There's a 52.0 for the guys. 51.6 for Grumio. Whether he's perhaps on his fresh set now, I'm not too sure. Whether he's going to have that same tactic he has done in the past to put on a fresh set, go for his Q2 lap early on and then retire. We'll have to wait and see what his plan is. There's these 2 yellow flags on the circuit. One for one of the Red
don't be
Bulls.
careful.
Grimio fastest, 1 minute 9.6.
Well done, Pope.
And Pope
I
has
told you
retired
to be careful.
What happened? Is he put the car in yet?
I don't know what he was thinking. He was just rather.
Oh, okay. There we go.
There we go.
And AT is
It's
there.
happened.
That is bad timing. Pope despawns as AT makes contact.
Oh dear.
Well, that's going to make Pope's job a lot harder to cap off his Q2. And he's got to hope now that no one below him actually improves. He's got to hope that bottom 5 stays the same. It's going to be tough. Oh, there we go. So, in a weird call for deja vu, Ben, his wheel, I believe, may have malfunctioned the second time.
Oh, I wonder what happened, because it malfunctioned the first time. Just going through to back, and he hit the wall there. And then it looked like it happened again. But I think we may have had a bit of a glitch here where Pope won't be able to get through into Q3. We're only going to have 9 drivers in Q3, I think.
That is true, but of course that only comes into play if none of the bottom 5 now go faster. So we'll have to see, what the game plan is there. TJ just completed his lap. He was down, but I dare say he was saving for another lap. I'm not entirely sure as to what his plan was, but DJ's on a lap. Lucky's emerging from the pit lane. PJ is in the pits. JB is also in the pits. The majority of cars are waiting to go up for their second runs. There's Dan waiting there for the Haas of Grumio to clear. As Grumio still staying on the circuit here and going for another lap. I'm not entirely sure as to what his plan is here, but I should think we'll see him in this time. As Imri's up by 3/10 in his first sector. I should think this is his fresh set. Yeah, I mean, that was a very chaotic last minute there, and AT is back in the pit lane now, so fortunately he only has to go around a corner or two to get back to the pits. Fresh front wing on that car, he can go again, but he's obviously in a bit of danger here. He's in P9 at the moment, 3,000s behind Ethan. As Imri invalidates, he's 7/10 up, but called it there. But there is your sign that Imri still has stuff up his sleeve to give on a fresh set. We'll have to see what his game plan is from here, because I imagine he put a fair bit into those tyres on that run.
Yeah, I imagine so, with the pace looking really good. He would have been quicker than Grumio, I'd say, without a shadow of a doubt. Until he did invalidate. I was watching TJ's lap time, TJ's laps, and he auto-invalidated going through swimming pool. So, and then he bailed right at the end of it. So TJ's got enough time to go for it again. Whether he improves is another thing.
Come on, DJ here to make his way into the last sector. I believe for a second I thought he'd lost.
Sorry, TJ.
Sorry?
Sorry, TJ hit the TJ invalidated, not DJ. My bad.
That's alright, no worries. DJ towards the line, 117.5 on the board for him. I think we'll be looking for a better run this time around. As he taps the outside wall, plate a second time, and that'll make things a bit more difficult for him. Likely we'll see him in this lap, but that'll be a good sign for Pope, who, of course, as we say, wants no one to improve beyond the 1 minute 10.2. And yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure as to. It's been so long since a driver has retired. I mean, he's crashed, so that's the difference there compared to a retirement. So I'm not entirely sure as to what the game will give him, whether the game will let him go through, or whether he'll be forced to sit it out. I'm not entirely sure as to what happens there, but we'll find out. But that was be interesting for Q3 to keep our eyes on. And in the meantime, Curtis is there in P5, so he's doing a fantastic job at the minute. Half is down the order so slightly, but obviously, as we said, likely a fresh set of tyres will change that. He's got 5.5 minutes if he wants to go again. As I'm seeing the other Haas of 18 now emerging, so he's got his front wing replaced. He'll be going for another run. TJ, JB, Lucky, DJ all out on track. DJ's improving, but had his lap deleted, so not looking good. So this time you're right, Ben, in that sense about DJ. As he comes towards the line, it's a 1 minute 11.6, which wouldn't have been enough to up him Pope for a spot in the top 10. But it's more it's TJ, JB, and Lucky. If I was Pope, I'd be concerned about it. As Grumio calls it quits, he will go for a run in Q3 and be looking for pole position once again around this circuit. But it's been a long time since then. Obviously, Imri has dominated here in recent years. And I say years and not seasons to give you a sense of just how good he's been over 1 lap pace here. I liken him very much to Charles Leclerc in that sense, Ben, because obviously we know for a long time that Leclerc struggled big time around Monaco from day one, even from that first race in the Sauber week when he crashed with Brendan Hartley. So obviously Leclerc got the job done eventually, and we're waiting on Imrie to do the same. It feels in a way like a formality, but we yet to actually see it be executed. So the closest he's come is it being within about 10 laps from victory. So we'll see here what he's got this time round.
Yeah, we'll soon find out whether it's tonight, next season, or 5 seasons down the line. It will happen for him at some point. He's just got to nail it. It takes a lot of precision around here, and for 40 laps, that's not easy. Only time will tell though. And for Charles Leclerc's time, what it took, it's a 78 lap race, so it's even worse for Charles Leclerc.
Definitely. I mean, I couldn't imagine the physical challenge of driving this circuit in real life. I mean, that's just beyond everything I could possibly think of fathoming in my mind as a commentator. But TJ into P6 there, he's crossed the line, and that will put that. I mean, that will. AT's there in P11 at the minute, so it's looking like Pope might be okay, but it's still quite close. As Imrie goes faster still, 1 minute 9.4 on the board, so he's managed to get his time in. I should think he'll retire, and we'll see him again in Q3 in just 3 minutes' time. Lucky towards the line. Lucky, is he improving? He did improve, but stays P13, 111.2. JB is down in his first sector. We'll see what it looks like in sector 2. As he comes into turn 12. He's 2 seconds down. Okay, so he's safe in that sense. 80's had that deleted. So Pope is getting closer and closer to safety in this session, which is interesting. But AT's got his battery charged up. He's going for a full lap this time round. So this could be make or break as to whether or not Pope sees Q3 or not.
Yeah, it could be. AT's got to nail this lap in order to get through into what would be Q3. Looks like it's a bit snappy on the rear though, going through Massenet and then down towards Mirabeau now. It's slightly wide to what he would like to, but not too bad. It's a bit of a scruffy lap up until now. We'll see if the lap time delivers though.
And it was a 3.5 gain, so whatever he's doing, but it's definitely working. We'll give him that as he makes his way out of turn 8 into the tunnel down towards the Nouvelle Chicane down by the harbour, as it's looking close. But obviously those tenths aren't enough to get him past Pope. He needs a bit more than that on this lap to push him inside that top 10 and give him that Q3 spot as he continues to improve. He's 7 tenths up now. That'll do it for him.
It's going to be enough.
He needs a good last sector here, and this could be putting Pope out with 2 minutes to go. Half into P3, so big gains for him as well on those hard tyres. He could be a surprise dark horse in tonight's race as AT rounds the last corner, likely to knock Pope out here. And it's a 1 minute 10.1, and that will do it there. Oh, I'm sorry.
This game is glitched.
Okay, right.
I don't know.
There we go then. Well, good thing we noticed that. Okay, so Pope has been safe the entire... We've sort of played this up. Pope's been safe the entirety of the time here. His best time's 1 minute 10.2, and P8, P9, and below are all slower than he is. So I'd like to apologise for just sort of the scrappiness of that whole call. Right. So Pope should be going through. So what happens now then?
Pope will go through, albeit he will be knocked out. It's a bit weird. So we're gonna have 9 drivers into Q3, but because Pope actually crashed on track, he's not going to be able to take part in Q3, despite him being in the top 10.
That's the theory.
I've had a glitch before.
We'll have to. I've seen this before, yeah.
Yeah, I've had it before. I had it in Brazil a while back, and it looks like it hasn't been sorted.
Well, that is the F1 game being the F1 game in that sense. As we enter the last minute here of Q2, I just feel like I've sort of let everyone down here because of that.
You've not let anybody down.
It's fine. 25 seconds to go. We're ending the session off here then. So obviously, you have to keep an eye out then in that case, because I mean we'll see here who does go through in the end. I mean, the top 5, top 6 are all set. Ethan there, P7, Dan 8th, TJ 9th. PJ's in 10th then technically, so PJ is going through. So let's go that. No, PJ's still in P11, so Pope should be going through based on the times, but we'll see what the game chooses to do. I'm guessing you're right, but we'll see what happens here. Checker flag now falls, and we'll get a sense as to who actually makes it in. JB is taking a slight improvement in the first sector, only by 300, so he needs a bit more than that to get himself up into Q3. He needs him up about 7-8 tenths as the checker flag has now dropped, as I say. Dan coming out of the tunnel towards the chicane. One of the cars in front of him, that being the Red Bull of TJ, who's... No, that's not TJ, that is the RB of JB, who's still looking for a strong lap to cut this one off. He's down by 4,000 now. Sorry, 400, sorry, and he's had his lap deleted, so that'll do it then for JB. DJ's out, as we saw earlier. Lucky Lambert also out. PJ is eliminated, and TJ should be eliminated as well, I should think. Am I correct on that, Ben? Will the game send Pope through?
It should. It will send Pope through, but Pope won't be able to take part. Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
That's what we shall run with for the moment then. So PJ into P11 there. Managed to make a gain over TJ, but couldn't quite get himself up above the top 10 times. And the gap there, the gulf there, about half a second between the last time going through and the first time going out. So we'll see here as to what pace is like in Q3. But Pope should be safe. He should be going through. Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. Scrap that. So in raw time. Okay, that'll do it then. Right. So we've reached a conclusion. Pope is out. Right. So he's been narrowly locked out on pace then as Ethan goes through by... I believe that is just 33 thousandths of a second. And that'll do it then. So Williams' evening gets further compounded. Imri fastest from Grumio, Dan, Huff, and Websy. And Q3 about to get a lot more interesting in just a moment. So Q3 then about to get underway, Ben, and this, as we both know, is for all of the marbles. You can't win the race in this session, but you can definitely hamper your chances of winning the race in this session. And whether we'll see Imri go 5 poles on the trot of this circuit, he's led both sessions so far by about half a second each time. So this is going to be quite impressive if he can do it in that same pace once more. But pressure is really on now. And we'll see here who's got what it takes to get pole. And both our predictions, both into Q3, Huff and Ethan, both make it in the top 10. So we'll see who's got the pace to get the first one up on the prediction game. In that sense, obviously, it's all about finishing position for us. But qualifying in Monaco, you've been in this league and you've been in this position before. What does it take, Ben, to get a good lap around this circuit?
It takes a lot, so tyres have got to be well up to temperature. You don't want to start that with cold tyres, go wide at turn 1, and that's pretty much lap over if that happens. You also want to make sure you get your braking absolutely spot on, not outbrake yourself. It will feel like you do outbrake yourself naturally, but then you'll bring the car in and the car will stick. Believe it or not, it is quite easy to invalidate around here. Through swimming pool, Nouvelle and turn 1, notorious for it. So we'll find out and see who's got it in the bag.
Let's watch then for Imri, and we'll see what sort of things we can spot on his first lap. He's been the pace setter all evening so far. He's looking for more of the same in this session, and now more than ever, he wants a good time in. Pressure cannot get to him now as he makes his way up the hill for the first time up towards turn number 3. Pace has been there, and obviously that is key around Monaco, but control also another thing. You've got to keep yourself perfectly precisional. That's not a word, precisional. You've got to keep your precision perfect in that sense. It's a good first sector for him as he heads down into the hairpin, keeping the car nice and steady. Yellow flag in behind. That's one of the Red Bulls backing off. That is the Red Bull of Curtis, I believe. No, sorry, that's TJ, who is waiting for a number of cars to go on through with their first flying laps. Imri going down towards Nouvelle now. Into the chicane he comes, keeps the car controlled. We're going to see, as you said, Ben, track limit's crucial this circuit. We've seen it a few times in tonight's sessions so far as Imri bangs the wall there, keeps his end plate on, and goes 51.0 on the board. And he's keeping him, he's definitely a lot more bold in terms of his line he's taken, especially in this last sector as he comes into the last corner here. We'll see what sort of time he puts in. This time could be quite good as he runs towards the line. It's be a 1 minute 8.9. Well, Imri has shown up and he has delivered on that first lap.
So, despite hitting the wall, he's gone, what? It's so much faster than what he did in Q2.
He's a second clear of Dan on that first lap alone. HP cooking to P3, AT P4. We'll see where Grumio comes through in about a minute or two because he's yet to get through for his first lap. I mean, you've got a number of good teams in here who've got both their cars in. Mercedes with both their cars, Sauber, both their cars, Haas and Red Bull, and just the one Alpine and the one Aston Martin. And Webster goes into third place, 1 minute 10.154 on the board. We're in for a good session here, and we'll see what Huff can do. I think I have to be on him as well for a reserve debut and into Q3. We've seen it done in the past, and we'll see where he can put himself for the race start. It's going to be very exciting to see what he can do, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Same here.
8 minutes to go then. We'll get more of a glimpse here in terms of our grid on this first lap. Grumio up the hill towards turns 2 and 3. He's had a solid qualifying sessions so far, but he's run second field to Imri over the course, but slides the car through turn 3.
Tokyo drifted through in Monaco. Jesus. That would have shook Grumio.
And that will cost him his first lap too, let's not forget. So Grumio had to re-steady himself and go for another run. A rare mistake then from the 10-time champion and former winner at this circuit. It's going to be good to see how he recovers himself later on as TJ goes 7th fastest, 111.1 on the ball for the Red Bull driver. And Curtis looking to try and top his teammate. Can't do it. 1 minute 16.7 on after having done he's done 2 laps on those soft tyres. As Huff runs towards the line. Huff into second place, 1 minute 9.5. Well, there we go. So he could find himself. We'll see where Grumio goes. Does Grumio slot in between the pair of them, or does Grumio get closer to Imri than he is to Huff? It's going to be quite exciting to see here. Well, actually, sorry, scrap that. Grumio, obviously, I'm losing memory. Grumio made a mistake 30 seconds ago, so we'll see. I think he's going for a second lap. I think he's trying to charge back as much as he can. And we'll see.
I don't get that, mate. Don't get why he would do that with the battery that's on. But
it's going to be very... Grumio continuing on with his effort then as he makes his way down into turns 7 and 8. Looking for a much stronger lap this time around. But everyone's put a time in and Grumio's slowest so far. That is a rare sight, Ben. You might not get a screenshot of that before it goes away to the end of time. But as he makes his way down towards Nouvelle again, we'll get a sense as to what his times are looking like this time around. Imri still fastest by 6.5 tenths, almost 6.5 tenths to Huff in second place. Dan's in third. And Grumio's up by 7 seconds. Not enough as of yet, but because he was quite slow in his final sector. So we'll see what sort of gains he makes this time round. I think it's a good thing he had that spare set of softs as he rounds the last corner out to turn 19. It's the outside wall. And that will hurt him. But towards the line, 1 minute 9.7 for Grumio. Wow. And is the champion finally becoming unnerved in any capacity as the defending winner of this race, Dan, enters turn 3. He's been knocked down to 4th place in the order. It's still only 4 tenths or so, covering the second, third, and fourth, and he's blocking the circuit there. Slide out of turn number 3, out of turn 4, sorry. He has to get the turn around quickly before AT arrives on the scene. On corner exit, here comes the Haas.
To do it, Dan.
And he's got himself going again.
There's one way to do it. He literally just hit the wall with his rear wing and his front wing.
Oh, well, that was a moment, I think of terror for the cars around. A good thing Grumio wasn't on a lap anymore. Good thing he's finished the job. I think we'll see him likely come out one more time on another set of tyres to go to the last bit of the session. But Imri is the favourite, as he has been so far this evening. And unless someone's got something big in the bag, that could be the only 1 minute 8 we see.
Yep, I've just seen Dan just go straight on at Nouvelle.
So obviously Dan, I think just wants the way back to the pit lane now after that damage. Tough break for him, and we'll see how he recovers himself to try and get himself back into that top 3 to see if he can beat his reserve teammate on the grid tonight. Remember, Huff can't score points. He's in place of Obsessed tonight. So we'll see here what Dan can do as a solo effort for Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. Of course, Haas lead the way by 46 points in that sense to Williams in second place, and Sauber still in a distant third. They're closer to Mercedes in P4 than they are to Williams in P2. So big gains that he's been made by Imrie and HB Cook if they want to try and challenge the top two in any sense. If they want to try and go for the McLaren dark horse route, as we saw last season. Every constructor has scored points at this stage. It's VCarb still in P5, then it's Red Bull 6th, Aston 7th, Alpine 8th, McLaren 9th, and Ferrari with 4 points in 10th. Those guys want to try and get themselves going quickly, but both of them out before Q3, so we'll see if they can recover themselves and get some points on the board in the race.
Yeah, it's rather just a survival challenge. If you survive, there is a chance of points. Who knows?
We'll have to just wait and see in 39 laps time, and we'll obviously a lot of unknowns in this race. That's the best way of putting it. This one could go anyone's way, but it's still looking like Imrie's the favourite with 3 minutes to go. Anything can happen in the race. AT is there into the pit lane, and Websy is emerging now. He'll be the first runner to head out for one final lap in this session. Imrie's on circuit, so looking to perhaps try and improve on his previous effort. If he doesn't, he's got quite a nice cushion. He's got exactly 0.634 seconds, which is the same sort of gap he had, almost the same gap he had in Q1, where he was a quarter of a second in front to kick things off after his first lap. Huff in P2 there, Grumio P3. Could still potentially try and grab pole, but will those first 2 laps have broken his stride is the main question, I think, on everyone's lips. Ethan there in P5, only 28,000 of AT. Gains there could do him nicely for a spot in the top 2, in the top 2 rows, sorry. Dan is still in P6, Websy's still P7. Curtis, HB Cook, TJ is your top 10. As we'll see the last few laps here and everything gets put on the line. Monaco is one of the big hubs for gambling in the world, Ben. Do we see anyone go all in, or I should think everyone's going all in, on these final laps?
Yeah, I hope they go all in, because that's where the lap time comes from, but at the same time you also got to keep out the barriers, so we'll see in the next 2 minutes or so. Jimmy's just about to start his last lap.
Imrie will bring them round then to begin the final qualifying laps of this session. Still 2 minutes to go, so still time to get round to go forward. On the lap, you see Dan leaving the pit lane there as Imrie charges through turn 1. Slight tap to the outside wall though, but fortunate not to lose his end plate as of so far, I think, tonight. He's had a few moments that have come quite close for him so far in these sessions. He makes his way through turn 4. Incredible car control, of course. You've seen drivers like Grumio and Dan, who have obviously been quite good here in recent seasons, losing the car around there, but not in the case of Imrie. He goes a 10th up in his first sector. Yellow flag as Huff letting the Haas of Grumio go through. Grumio's on his lap, so looking for a strong end to this session. We'll get a sense as to who will take pole when those two come round, because they'll be the 2 favourites as they have been all season here. Imrie into the end of the second sector. Has kept the lap valid through the Nouvelle as he makes his way in towards turn 12 and almost up by 2 tenths now. So I'm still making gains here. He's almost a second in front of Grumio's best effort as he comes through. He's a 10th up himself. Grumio now 3.5 tenths up, so still not enough to challenge Imrie. So you need a big last sector to have any hope of upending the 4-time pole winner here. Looking set to try and become 5-time pole winner on the bounce. Imrie across the line, 1 minute 8.6. Over a second faster than Grumio's previous effort. Will that change here? Grumio crosses the line, 1 minute 8.641. Big gains for Grumio in the last sector, but I dare say that'll do it then for both those two. Imrie looking like a take pole. Can Huff say anything? Can he gain 9 tenths on his last lap to bag a pole on reserve debut in the RDL? Big question here, Ben.
Massive question here indeed. Where on earth did Grumio pull that lap time from in sector 3?
Well,
mental.
Both of them watching the challenger go through. Huff only 4,000 up. Checker flag is there. Curtis in P6. Ethan is in P5 in the pit lane. HB Cook in the last corner, improving by almost a second here. So looking for a big push up the grid. And HB Cook into P5. So top 5 both kick Saubers as they run. Dan is going into the last sector now. He's 3 tenths up on his previous effort, which will put him again around sort of P3, P4. So could still, that's how close things are in that mid-pack of the top 10, Ben. Keep an eye on that on your top left corner as Dan across the line up into 3rd place. Huff is down by a 10th. So looking like as close as he came, it's going to be Huff in 4th place here, unless AT can say anything about it later on. But last corners then But a very impressive reserve debut in quali as Huff goes fourth fastest then. It'll be P4 on the grid for him. Websy looking like the taps in P10, but could improve to P9 as TJ won't get another lap in. Websy up by half a second here, closing off the last corner. 80 across the line stays P5. Websy goes into fourth place to cap it off. Imri on pole though. And a very impressive qualifying session. The entire top 10 covered by a second and a half, but a majority of that taken by the dominance of the top 2 there. Ben, give me your thoughts, mate, because that was dominance on another level, and we're in for a very interesting Monaco Grand Prix.
Wow. That's what I can say.
Do you know what?
Wow.
Sometimes that is all you need.
Yep.
Well, that'll do us then. We're just waiting then for Grumio's car to be pushed back into the garage. There it is. Checker flag is completely up. Imri, for the 5th season in a row, continues to stay unbeaten in Monaco qualifying in the Racers Driving League. He takes pole. He will lead Grumio down towards Sandevot. Dan qualifies in 3rd place. His reserve team, Websy P4, sorry. His reserve teammate Huff in P5. Fantastic debut for him. We'll see if it continues on into the Grand Prix. ATP 6th, then it's HP Cook 7th, Ethan 8th, Curtis 9th, and TJ rounds at your top 10. So that is qualifying, and we'll see you back in a minute's time to start the race. Welcome back, then, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back from the end of what is a very exciting qualifying session and what has set us up for perhaps one of the most exciting Monaco Grand Prix races we've seen in a fair few seasons. Those of you just joining us, welcome along to the stream. I'm your host, Zach RC. Alongside me is Ben, once again, looking forward to what should be a fantastic Grand Prix along the historic Principality, a lap that covers almost an entire country, such is the size of Monaco geographically. There is the circuit on the screen there for you. 19 corners. Daniel, previous winner, but you'll note 78 laps on last season's count. 39 laps this time round. It's back to half distance. It'll be a 100% race next week. That should be quite exciting. And we'll see here how the mandatory two-stop, Ben, plays into, or perhaps away from the hands of certain drivers on the grid. It should be a very interesting one indeed.
Yeah, it should be, yeah. Monaco is always is. As I've been saying to drivers, no heroics in Sandevot, please. Fingers crossed everyone keeps it through. Keeps it nice and clean into turn 1, and then who knows what could happen.
It's going to be a very exciting one indeed. And obviously, as you saw a few moments ago, Imri taking pole, Grumio qualifying in 2nd. Keep an eye on the reserve. Huff in 5th place. Should be an exciting race for him as well, as he goes for his reserve debut. Going to be such a good result. He can perhaps try and nab that car on the podium. I mean, he's your prediction for tonight, Ben, and I predicted Ethan. I dare say keeping it outside of the main rotation of drivers, I'd say we've made quite good picks so far, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Well, we'll see who comes out on top in that sense. We're calling it at 2-all so far in our little game, as I've forgotten the count, so that's on me. But we'll get that sorted for future races and get a full count prepared for next week's race. In terms of your starting grid then for tonight's race, it's Ericsson starting dead last in P20, Che in P19. Neither car got a lap in qualifying. Che crashed quite early on. Alba lines at P18 in the medium tyre. McLaren at Courtney Goblin P17. 10th Cannon went out in Q1. She lines up P16, looking to try and continue on her good run of form in the last 7 races to start the season off. It is DJ in P15. Lucky in P14 from Ferrari. JB P13 looking for a strong result himself. Of course, podium here back in season 15. PJ lines up P12. Pope in the end obviously causes quite a bit of confusion in Q2 as we thought he crashed quite early on. We thought he'd gone through, but it was beaten naturally on pace in the end by only a few thousandths, so quite close there. TJ lines up P10. It's both Red Bulls together on row 5 with Curtis in P9. Ethan in P8 on the medium tyres for Alpine. He's my pick to do well tonight. HP Cook P7 for Sauber. It's AT in P6 for Haas. Huff debuting tonight in the RDL from P5 in the reserve Mercedes in place of Obsessed Gamer. He's Ben's pick for the evening. Webbsy P4 looking for a strong run, potentially of Ashton's first podium of the season, perhaps, who knows. Dan P3, defending winner of this race, won this race from 3rd last season as the top two parted for him out of turn 1. Grumio, your defending champion, lines up in 2nd place, looking to add another win to his roster. And Imri on pole for the 5th time in a row and looking to, this time at last to make that record go 1-4 on his win tally. Ben, this can be a great race.
It certainly will be, yeah, 100%. We're maybe waiting for some time for the back market to catch up, as they're only just going through the swimming pool at the moment and into Raskas, but hopefully it's going to be an interesting one.
Hopefully indeed. Che, obviously a story to keep an eye on there from the back of the grid. P19, it'll be impressive to try and work his way up towards the front and get some points on the board. He runs P4 in the Drivers' Championship, but surrounded by those 2 McLaren start things off. It could be a quite chaotic start here as the last few cars take their position to the back of the grid, and all the talking stops now as we wait now for the lights. Here we go. 5 lights are on for the 8th race of the season here in Monaco. Long hold. And it's lights out, foot to the floor, and we are racing in the Principality. Good start from both cars here on the front row going towards turn 1, but Imri narrowly gets in front of Grumio. Clean start, that's what he needed there. Down into P3, passing Webbsy. Huff stays P5. It's all single file as everyone heads to position and jockeys up position up towards the hill. Going into turn 3, everyone keeping it nice and clean. It's a tidy start from everyone here. Che up 2 spots. Curtis and Ethan going side by side into turn 4. Curtis around the outside wins out on this occasion. Ethan might come back at him towards turn 5 as Pope challenges TJ. Going into that same corner, into the right-hander here. There's been a side-by-side into the hairpin. This will be quite tasty. Going into that left-hander. Everyone keeping it nice and clean as both Red Bulls battle for position here. And both of them, unfortunately, losing out on the inside on this occasion. As you see a number of cars over the curve there. Ethan gets out in front of Curtis. Pope narrowly out in front of TJ, who slides out and may actually lose out to PJ as well as they make their way down towards the Novo chicane for the first time. But up front, though, Ben, Imri gets the dream start, and he leads now by 6/10 to Grumio.
It's the same by Curtis on Ethan. Ethan comes out on top just through Nuvo. May have actually been giving it away. Yeah, you're going to legal overtake.
Ah, there we go. Right, and Ethan's sliding past both of them again. And these guys wasting no time, but the gap has very quickly shifted. 3.5 seconds from HP Cook in P7 to Ethan in P8 as Imri leads your first lap of 39. He's got 8/10 on Grumio. Just the 1 DRS zone in the circuit, so it's down to raw pace and raw temperament to see who can get themselves out to an advantage. But Imri has a good pace by himself, so we'll see if he can try and maintain that over the course of the Grand Prix. The key here is to not let himself get in his own head too much. We've seen it many times in the past with a number of drivers in previous seasons, especially around this circuit. We'll see who's got the temperament today to hold on to things, but he leads by 8/10 to Grumio, down in P3. Well, still P4.
Pope.
And Pope going for it against Curtis, you see there, Ben.
Yeah, he sent it down the inside move. Couldn't quite pull the move off. I think Curtis narrowly just managed to outbreak himself, hold the position, and he's going to lead his way into Newville.
So down towards the chicane once again. Then you see Pope in P10. His teammate Che up 3 places into P16 already. This has been a strong start to the Grand Prix for him. DJ's his next target in the Aston Martin, so he chases his way through the chicane and down towards turn 12 for the 2nd time in this Grand Prix. No such challenge being made as of yet, as they make the way down towards Raskas and through the swimming pool chicane. DRS in play, but Imri already a second clear. He's on the medium tyres to start off. We're seeing 5 drivers on the hards. That'll be Grumio, Dan, PJ, Che, and Courtney Goblin. So those 5 are going to try to go a bit longer on their first stint. It'll be interesting, as we said, Ben, to see how strategy impacts this race with the mandatory 2-stop. But as you said, it's looking at mediums and hards mostly. But I dare say we'll see at least one driver opt for the soft tyre at some point in this race.
Yeah, well, fortune favours fold, like I said in qualifying, so we'll soon find out. Maybe if we get a late race safety car, who knows, everybody could bolt on and set soft and we can all of a sudden be in the 109 2010s.
It could end up that way. You have to wait and see. But Grumio is in the here and now is working on chasing Imri back down. He's back within DRS range once again here. Obviously, you need to be in that 1 second gap. Imri goes over the curb bit there at Nouvelle. I'm sure he would have liked to avoided doing that. But Grumio still holding his ground, but not really gaining too much in these early stages of the race. But doesn't need to, of course. It's a long race. I mean, 39 laps around Monaco is a lot longer time than people would think. It's a short lap, but in terms of how long it takes you to, and at least mentally, to fully traverse it, it's a quite different story. And I know that from many years of career mode. As Imri begins lap 4 of this race. And those top 3 are pulling away there, Ben. You're seeing Webster about 2 seconds back from down already, but Huff is on his tail as they enter turn 1 up the hill towards turns 2 and 3 again. 80 behind them, HB Cook, and then Ethan 2.6 behind. He's actually pulling away Pope and Curtis as those two go side by side here.
Oh, no, over the hill.
Oh, that's very tight, isn't it?
Good move, to be fair, from Curtis.
Very gutsy from the Red Bull driver as he works his way into P9 once again, but slides there. Open the door of Pope's trying to go for an attack, and there goes the season 15 winner down the inside. Oh, slamming the inside ball there, and lucky to avoid any damage to the end plate, but gets away with it, and up into P9. Pope goes once again. I'm seeing Alvar in the pit lane here. Oh, side by side.
Jay's going for.
Yeah, I see their chain. DJ going at it.
Nothing quite coming off there for Jay.
Nothing yet. We'll keep an eye on him. Alvar in the pit lane there for a fresh set of hard tyres. Tempest falling away from these guys right now. She's about a second and a half back as Che, I thought was going to go for it again into the Nouvelle chicane, but thinks better of it. And DJ hangs on for at least another day. But, I mean, you get the feeling, Ben, obviously Chase made a good start, but he's got to start making some more progress than this.
Yeah, he's got to, he can't really settle down into rhythm, can't really by his time around Monaco. Alvar has pitted and just changed his front wing, so I wonder if Alvar had a bit of damage early on. Oh, Pope's out.
Crash there. Is that on circuit?
What
I believe it is. Can't see the car.
No, in the pit lane.
Oh, wow. I dare say he may have had another problem with his wheel, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that may do it then for Pope, unfortunately. So, a tough evening, made even tougher for Pope, who, of course, runs third in the championship going into this race. Because we haven't made much mention of the Drivers' Championship so far. As DJ also out.
DJ.
And that's a crash. And he's lost the car. And that is the Ferrari run as well. See, and
I want to say it's a virtual. Yes.
And Lucky Lambert also caught a piece of that as he recovers the car, gets himself moving again. But 2 retirees in the space of about 30 seconds. That's how quickly things can turn the head at Monaco, Ben, as you and I are both aware. Well, there we go then. VSC deployed, and Imri's charge is brought, and red flags out.
Stop.
And I dare say for the first time in RDL history, we're seeing 2 red flags in one season. That's a shocker.
Well, it just went straight from VSC to red flags, so...
Well, there we are then.
That's normally not what happens.
So now we wait for a few moments here, and that will give Grumio a second opportunity on the race start then, Ben. Let's not forget that, because we're going towards turn 1 once again. Imri, after nailing the start, will need to pull it off all over again. And that could be a tough task. But that also takes away one of the 2 stops. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. But that also means we should see one of the 2 stops being made here. So that actually helps out quite a fair bit.
Yeah, well, we'll soon find out. For those who have pitted for the likes of Alvar, I think JB also managed to sneak a pit stop in there. There'll be a disadvantage if they have lost any positions.
I mean, Alvar gets brought right back into the equation in terms of obviously having to make that front wing change. But we'll see if this start is as clean as the first one was, or if it's a bit more chaotic this time. But here we go. The lights come back on again for a restart on lap 7 of this race. Imri on hard tyres, TJ on soft tyres. I knew I'd see someone on soft today, Ben. I did tell you. And waiting for the lights to go out now. Back to racing here on lap number 7 of this event. As Grumio with a much better start this time around the outside. But Imri still holding his own. Contact between the pair of them. They're side by side. PJ a penalty already as Imri is trying to pull it in front, but Grumio not giving in. They're side by side, and Grumio sneaking on the inside. There's contact in the pair of them again. Grumio squeezing his way past around the outside, and Grumio clears Imri. And I doubt the Imri would be too pleased with that, as now Dan challenges up the inside.
Please.
And that red flag has not played into Imri's hands at all. Yellow flag behind them. Another crash, it seems.
Oh, we got a car
no
park.
cars around
Car
there.
park at Bilbao.
Stopped cars. And Che gets away from it. Che escapes. Curtis is stopped completely. Alvarez goes to the movie again. Curtis turns himself around. A second red flag.
Oh, for God's sake.
Well. What has happened here, ladies and gentlemen? Things have changed dramatically in this race. Will this be a second mandatory pit stop?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the game tries to make you change tyres under a red flag, if memory serves.
Oh, well, in that case, then it was fairly boring, long 34 laps or whatever it will be.
Well, the question is, can hard tyres go that long? I shouldn't think they can, so it was just at least.
It'll be tight. It'll be very tight.
I'm thinking of tight. What about that start there between Imri and Grumio? Grumio wins out, and now Imri's down in third place.
Did Imri get passed by the Mercedes?
Yes, I dare say he did. Dan should be in second place, and Grumio will lead him off the start. So that's a tough break for Imri, who had a perfect getaway the first time round, and now finds himself down the order. And I mean, I dare say harsh words being minced here in the Discord. We'll see here how things go on the restart. As Imri down in third there, right? But Grumio on his same tyres as we go back to get back underway. And here we go again. A third race start here at Monaco. And Grumio off the line well. And Dan moves immediately behind him going into turn one. Imri will not be pleased with how things have gone then in the last minute or so as everyone moves away and charges up the hill once again here. And we're on lap 9 now this Grand Prix, so a lot of it's been taken away from us in terms of pace. TJ on those soft tyres. I did say we'd see soft tyres in this race, Ben. What did I tell you early on?
You did, yeah.
I did say that, and I'll say this as well. Our two predictions, Huff and Ethan, are right with each other here. 7th and 8th on track, so we'll see here how things now shape up for those two. But Grumio now with a lead of 6/10 to Dan. Imri in third place. And to have work to do now to get himself back up the order. But Grumio on old mediums already pulling away here a fair bit. But whether they have to make a stop earlier on now, whether we might try and go for a set of hards to the end, is the question from here on out. So strategy will still need to be in play because it's too early on in the Grand Prix to even think of a change there. And we'll see what happens now in the remainder of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'd say it's advantage Grumio if you ask me. I think Grumio getting the better the second restart. And obviously Dan passing Imri. It's going to create a bit of a headache for the Key Tower driver and almost free up Grumio.
The race not
over yet. We've already got TJ into the pits.
So TJ perhaps trying to cover his base in the sense of the mandatory stops as he puts on a set of medium tyres. And likely he'll probably try and run those as long as he can. Then go perhaps for another set to the end. Of course, we haven't now got free reign in terms of tyres because everyone has made stops. But I believe that everyone has changed their compound at least once in this race. I'm not sure if anyone's gone for a second set of a certain amount of tyres, but we'll have to see here. The top three again pulling away. Websy 1.6 behind Imri in third place. It's 85th. Hasteby Cook in P6, Huff in P7, and Ethan in P8. Still clinging onto that train and clinging on, and I'm hoping he continues to do so. As I'd like to get back in front of Ben in the predictions game, but obviously our main focus is on the actual race of points in the order as it stands right now. We said a few drivers get penalties and all that chaos, Ben. Let's not forget that. We saw 3 seconds of PJ, and Chase got 10 seconds as well. I'm not entirely sure what that's actually for, as Ethan now joins us, guys.
Down to collision.
So for collision, Ben, yeah?
Yeah, just trying to find out. Yeah, severe collision with Curtis. So I wonder if that happened under the VC or under a red flag or something like that.
I'm thinking perhaps maybe part of the crash that was caused in the second start, as Grumio now sets fastest lap 111.828. Imri chasing third place to try and get second back. This is going to make life, as we keep saying, it's going to make life a lot more difficult for him.
It's amazing how the fact that it's gone from being so dominant in qualifying to then being down in P3, all due to a matter of red flags.
How things can turn their heads ever so quickly here in Monaco is definitely exciting, and just in the RDL in general, I mean, things can turn at the drop of a hat, realistically, in racing as a whole. So, I mean, part of me is not surprised in that sense, but I have to keep on going as PJ and Che goes battling away for the 10th spot, last point in the running order. Che obviously has that 10 seconds to think about. He'll serve that at his next stop, I should think. But yeah, I'm thinking likely it was due to a crash in that second start as he chases PJ down to and PJ off the circuit completely there.
He nearly had a Charles Leclerc moment.
Oh,
He nearly ran into the back of the Ferrari.
nearly, very, very close indeed. But Che now safely into P10, and Courtney Goblin in P9. Let's not forget that. I mean, look at that from for pace from the Ferrari veteran there. I dare say that Courtney Goblin's made more Ferrari starts than anybody else in this league, and I don't think I'd be entirely wrong to say that. I mean, he's been here for a long time, Ben. He's always seems to traverse back to that Ferrari at some point. So it's good to see him always upholding things for the Tifosi. I'm glad they've kept him on as long as they have.
Yeah.
It's nice little sort of continuity you get every so often in league racing. But Grumio up front, still on 1.8 to the good now, and just pulling away with an advantage. Dan in second place, Imri in third. And again, I know I keep sort of circling back to this, but I feel like we won't really properly discuss the battle there. As Che now passing Courtney for the 9th spot. He's 5.1 behind.
I've got a bit of a DRS training for me.
I mean, potentially, yeah. The idea of that is always there, but let's not forget, Bells, it's just the one DRS zone here. So I dare say that it'd be a less potent DRS train. It might just be just a long traffic. A long traffic? A long line of traffic.
A long traffic jam.
My voice here. But, yeah, I mean, that is what we've seen in the past. We've seen drivers pull that off. We know, obviously, as mentioned last week post-race, that 10th... Oh! Cuts around! And 10th Cannon gets damage as well.
Oh dear.
And a full safety car
that's
now.
at least a full safety car, yeah, it has to be. Get it for a 10 second.
The trifecta is completed here, ladies and gentlemen. We had 2 red flags, a VSC, and now a full safety car as well.
Welcome to Monaco.
Oh, it's been a very, very, very interesting first 12 laps of this race. But Grumio's lead is now reeled in. Dan in second, Imri still third. Your top 3 remains unchanged. And we'll see here what goes down from this point on. And we'll see if anyone does pit. We've got a number of cars in the pit lane. Obviously, 10th repairing the damage. Curtis, same thing. So, I believe Curtis serving that penalty. So doesn't lose anything there, but loses track position. Imri's got orange floor damage. Okay, right. That'll be big for him.
Yeah.
And that is unrepairable.
Alvaro's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting on the safety car.
I dare say perhaps he may have strayed into the bit of turn 1 there, because that's what's been a bit contentious in the past in terms of Monaco track limits.
It's just chaos galore around Monaco, isn't it?
Indeed it is, yeah. Grumio then...
This is why we love Monaco.
It's a lot more... Yeah, I think you'll agree with it. It's a lot more fun to be up here watching it than it is down there on the circuit.
Yeah, it's a lot less stressful.
There's the word I'm looking for. Yes, less stress. Right, well,
yeah.
all the leaders are staying out here, so no one going for a stop just yet. I would have thought that Grumio might take advantage and come into the pit lane, given that he may get a free stop on those tyres. He's been on them since he's had them on since the start, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, but I have to double check on that. Huff in P7, Ethan's still in P8, so you're still advantage there, Ben, at the minute. Doing a good job so far is Huff, keeping the car in the points paying place. It's down a few spots, but obviously that can always happen on a race start. It's anyone's guess as to whether you go forward or back, but I mean, while we're on the safety car, I feel like we have to briefly discuss the second start between Imri and Grumio, because that got quite tight. There was definite contact there, and whether it's a case of whether Grumio sort of squeezed his way past Imri too much, whether there wasn't enough space left, that's the problem for the stewards. But for us, up in the comments box, it's very, very tight, and I wouldn't like to call it myself.
Yeah, I think the stewards are going to have to come down hard on it with the fact that Imri has got orange floor damage. But in terms of general racing, that's what you'd like to see. However, in this instance, it's resulting in contact, resulting in damage, and that damage is now going to hurt Imri for the next 26 laps.
We'll see how he can recover things, see if he can try and, at the very least, improve his best finish around this circuit. Message from JB, don't forget if swapping tyres under red flag doesn't count as the mandatory stop. So we'll still need to see stops made in this race. The strategy then is still quite open, Ben. But, I mean, everyone has technically made 2 stops so far. But we're going to be seeing sort of 4-stop races in this Grand Prix. Imri is into the pit lane here, so I think he's taking advantage of that and going for a change in strategy. Right, so we'll see what the game plan is over at Kick Sauber. It's looking like hard tyres for Imri. And yes, it is. Hard tyres on He is away and will emerge down in, will likely be perhaps either 13th or 14th position. I think 14th.
Yeah, 14th.
So he recovers the car, gets himself moving once again. So a change being made then. So whether Imri can still try and win this race on strategy, we'll have to wait and see as to what the game plan is for everyone else. But it's going to be difficult from here on out to see what the. I mean, I'm unsure as whether that's the game calling it as that, or whether it's or whether it's a call from the stewards. That's not too sure there.
I think so. Judging by the game, we've actually already had 2 stops. We've had even 4 stops from regards to JB and Alba. I'd like to think that'll be a call from the stewards. However, we don't know what's going through the stewards. We don't know if they've discussed. They probably already have discussed that. For the first 15 laps, we've been treated to absolute carnage. So we'll see.
Well, the pit lane has been very busy. If you look at it from this sense here, if you're looking at the top left or the whole left side of your screen, there you see the 2 stops minimum for everyone, save for DJ. A safety car coming in this lap, so things about to get underway. And one point I have to make is that there hasn't been any red flags in Monaco since the rule was implemented. So there is a change there to keep an eye out for. There wasn't any red flags in the real life Monaco Grand Prix in 2025. So we'll have to keep an eye on as to what everyone does. As green flag comes back out, we are nearing the halfway stage of this race now. As Eric's in the pit lane, so an early taker as we go back to green flag racing here. We'll see what sort of tyres he puts on. It's a slightly used set of medium tyres in play. Grumio and Dan get back to chase each other down. Webbsy in 3rd place now. AT 4th, HP Cook P5. Then it's Huff, Ethan, Shea, PJ, and Lucky on top 10. But Lucky slow on the restart and down a spot to TJ there, who enters the top 10. Lucky maybe challenged by his teammates soon. Imri right behind both those guys. So his charge from the back begins. And we'll see what pace looks like for him on those hard tyres. He makes his way.
He goes down the inside of Mirabel.
Yeah, down at turn 5. I think he may try and.
And the outside of Hairpin.
It's going to be tight here as they go side by side. The
He's not going to. No.
Connie gets past there. Imri's through up into P12. And we'll start working on chasing down Lucky Lambert in the race of P11. But Grumio and Dan, again, I say pulling away, but Webbsy sticking with them there for the moment, I say at least. And AT about a second behind. So we'll see what Webbsy's got up his sleeve to try and keep the 2 leaders in this race, who since that first red flag have been the runaway cars in front. Grumio almost a second clear of Dan. So it's going to be, like I keep saying, it's going to be interesting. We've still got 23 laps to go, so plenty of time for things to happen. And things have already happened in this race. This could be one of the most eventful races in RDL in recent years. And we'll continue on and just see how things continue to happen.
Yeah, it's been surprised sort of due to the fact that obviously we had two red flags. We've also had a VSC turn into a red flag, and then we also had a safety car. So I'd like, that's a big of a snap from Jake. We're just watching the Duros train into Mirabo. He'd lost it through Massenet.
So Shane, they missed that train there. As you say, they've been running in the 8th spot as of right now. I dare say he's the biggest gainer so far in this Grand Prix. If I have a quick check here on my position change. Yes, he is. He's up 11 spots. Imri the opposite, gone the opposite way down 11 spots. But obviously has made a stop more than the cars in front of him. So we'll see in terms of what the game plan is there. He is the 4th highest driver on 3 stops. And so that'll mean that by the point being made by the stewards then, so the top 8 haven't made their stops yet. So that is something to keep an eye out for in this race. We'll see what happens late on in terms of strategy. But things still sit to get very tasty here for us. As up front, it's still Grumio and Dan pulling away. Webbsy now quite far behind. AT 2 seconds back. Keep holding that whole train at bay. HP Cook rounds out your top 5.
Yeah, so the problem that Imri's got is he's going to have to work his way through this train. Then again, I guess so is the rest of the top 10. So whether the train naturally deforms due to the pit stops or whether Imri can get past them quickly. Looks like maybe shaping up a move on Lucky into Miro. Is he going to go for it? Let's see the ideas.
Yes, always tried for a second. I think thought better of it and went against that point.
You've got to be conscious as well of the fact that he's got floor damage, so he's not got the best car performance underneath him as well.
I think it'd be more impressive if he can go on to try and win this thing. At the minute, obviously, I know we're only a few laps out from a safety car restart, but Imri's only 10 seconds off the lead right now, so I'd say all is not lost, given that he's also made a stop already. So we'll see what the game plan is now for Imri and how can he salvage a good result out of this one. I mean, obviously, I know we've stuck back to him to a lot, but I mean, given he's done as well as he has so far in terms of qualifying around the circuit, it's been thing after it's been instant after instant in terms of trying to win this race. And I dare say this has been one of the earlier points we've taken himself out of contention thus far, but still plenty of time.
TJ's lost it. TJ's down.
TJ's in the wall, and a front wing lost, but he's carrying on. But unfortunately, now has to go the entirety of lap 19 with no front wing on that car. That'll make life impossibly hard for him in the next lap or so, because we saw how bad Pope was in terms of having that puncture to deal with. I'd say the front wing is as bad.
He's actually doing a pretty good job of keeping out of the way of traffic. So he knows the fact that it's going to be down to pretty much walking speed. I guess for a Formula 1 car, it is walking speed, but he knows that mistake is now going to be costly.
But that may be his second stop of the race, I should think. So whether he can go on set hard to the end might be an idea for him. That strategy could open up. You never know. So just try and get something from that mistake. But we'll see here. It's Imri's now in front of Lucky. As Huff gets a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, and that opens our prediction game right back up, Ben, because now both Ethan and Huff have 3 seconds each. So now it's he's got that. Yes. So now it's both down to starting position for the pair of them. That'll be interesting to watch. Yellow flag in behind, all clear, no worries. But we'll keep an eye on those two as they continue to trundle around the mid-pack train led by AT.
Yeah, he's like rather holding these up, but he's 80 is what we saw of, if you remember a couple of seasons back in real life in F1, getting the traction zone, which is absolutely critical, is huge around it. If you get good traction coming out of Portier, the Rascas, final corner, and turn 1, you're looking all set, and it's hard for anyone to overtake around it.
Oh, big lunge from Imri there. He tries to take on PJ, going around the outside and clearing the Alpine into turn.
He's got to take the risk.
Number 6. Yeah,
he's got to go for it.
He's got to go for it. I don't blame you on that. He's still keeping pace with Grumio. He's still like 10 seconds back. So that's the thing. I mean, even with Imri having the floor damage, the pace advantage he's shown over the course of both qualifying and the early portions of the race before the red flag shows you that perhaps all is not lost for him. We'll have to wait and see as to what he does. I know I keep on saying that same term, let's just wait and see, but I mean, that is the truth here. We've still got half a race to run, and it's still looking, Grumio is still in front by a second to Dan, who's keeping narrowly in DRS range. Those two are pulling away from Websy, who's sort of by himself now in P3, but I'm sure would love a podium for Aston Martin. So I have to see.
I always think Websy goes really well around here.
That's the thing, Ben. He absolutely does.
Because then we make someone move this time on Ethan into turn 1.
The charge continues and up through the order then for the Sauber driver as he still sits 10 seconds back. We'll keep an eye on that because he's still in with an outside chance to win this race, I think. Just based on the fact that he obviously has made that strategy call already here. We'll have to see what Grumio and Dan do because I feel like Dan may try and do whatever Grumio doesn't do, but Grumio voiced a displeasure towards the idea of the 2 stops under the red flag not counting as the mandatory ones. So I have to see what I imagine the game will let him go. Whether the shields will let him go. That's the other question.
So he's going for moving to Nouveau. Slightly contact made. More contact made.
HB Cook and Chase side by side into turn 12. One of them's got to give away here. Another one of them doing it. HB Cook pays the price and is fortunate not to get away with damage as Imri now joins the party. He's now put Huff in quite an uncomfortable Sauber sandwich. As they make their way towards Raskas. He's going to try inside.
Jesus.
That wasn't worth it.
Oh my god.
And Imri goes for one gap too many. And I dare say he's lost an end plate there. I could be wrong. Yes, he has. Right, there we go. And that may have been a bit more than Imri could chew.
He's got another set of hearts. If he can get that from wind change, all he needs to do is keep it clean. He's on for a good result.
Well, he's now going to have made his 2 mandatory stops. That's the crucial thing. So now it's down to what he can do from here. Still not entirely sure how things will run, truthfully. But he emerges from the pit lane now. He's down to P16. And we'll see here just what happens. Grumio, though, up front, now sits a comfortable 39.7 in front of Imri. And that is about 2 pit stops gap worth. So it's going to be tight. If these two do abide by the call that's been made, then I just don't know at this point. I mean, even as Grumio and Dan have been pulling away, I've still got no clue to win this thing. Dan has kept pace with Grumio all evening. Che with a penalty there. That will hamper his chances of a podium finish. Of course, he's still got that 13 seconds to serve. Let's not forget that. So that will likely deter him in terms of the chance of a podium place, perhaps even a points paying place. But he's chasing 18 to 1. HP Cook 2 seconds behind. Not seeing anyone pit just yet. Whether everyone's seen the message.
Huff's got some wind damage.
He does. Oh, you see, HP Cook's around?
Missing an template. Huff.
Oh, Huff. Sorry, yes. I dare say.
I don't remember picking that up. Was that from him?
Potentially. There could. That's the only point I've actually seen him make any sort of contact with anyone so far. I mean, whether there's anything that he's been through that we haven't seen, not too sure on that front. But hopefully it won't impact his race too much there. He still continues on in that train, which is being led by HP Cook now. It's 80 and Che pulling away a bit. Che, I think, wants P4 off the Haas machine to try and get Williams some more points in the constructors. It's been a dismal day for the team so far, with Pope obviously having the retirement early on. It's been very, very chaotic since then. I'd say there's every chance Che can still have some good points in this race. We're looking here at the two leaders continue on here. Grumio's been on those medium tyres for 20 laps this thing. I doubt you can take them another 16, but you have to wait and see. Dan into turn 1, still right behind him on the hard tyres. These two, I think, need to pit again at some point, minimum. At least once before the end of the race.
Yeah, the thing that I fear is the fact that people haven't seen that message from JB. I know he's pinged everybody, but I know some drivers don't actually check their notifications while they're racing. So that's the thing that I fear. Whether that comes into aspect in the thing of things is another thing. But we'll find out.
PJ leaves the pit lane there on 3-lap old hard tyres, getting back to racing again from P15. He's going to end up with a rearview mirror full of one kick Sauber if he's not too careful in the next lap or two. We'll see where Imrie gets to. Oh, and Lucky Lambert's had a stoppage there at the pit entry. The car is stopped. I'm not entirely sure what he's up to there. Is he? Oh no, gets the car in the pit lane there. Right, that was concerning, but Lucky is in. Ferrari making a change. End plate damage. Right, there we go. So we'll see that's why he's making a change there. Medium tyres onto that car. He may got a lap down here under Grumio and Dan, who are still within half a second of each other here. But Dan just not close to go for that move yet. Looking to try to go back to back in this race and winning at Monaco, but can't quite get close enough. It's the same sort of story as last season. Lucky now retiring from the race.
In the pit lane? Yes.
In the pit lane, yes. But I mean, perhaps he's also been having malfunctions with technology as well. Not entirely too sure as to what's been going with Lucky, but tough end to the evening for him. But I mean, Ferrari is still with a good shout of points. So Courtney Goblin is still sitting there in P9 as of right now.
He was saying, oh, Beauregard. Could Che around the outside of Massenet.
He's gone for
He's putting off all the moves, Che.
Che is on another one tonight as he gets through and into 4th place. I'm quite concerned about that AI Ferrari being stuck there on the racing line. He's made contact there.
Yeah.
Courtney Goblin makes contact, gets himself moving
again.
He's going
off.
Get damage. Yeah, Lucky should turn off there. There we go. Right, so I mean, unfortunately that couldn't be avoided, but didn't impact anyone else too much, which is the key thing. Obviously, the yellow flag should clear up, and we should go fully back to green flag racing here as we make our way through. Imrie is in P15. That's made the pass on Ericsson, but a legal overtake of that, I think. So he has to be made to give that back. And as of right now, he's gaining time. He's 33 seconds behind, so he's gained about 7 seconds since that pit stop in the last 5 laps or so. So he's still on it, but whether he's got enough to win the race from here is unsure. I mean, that's the thing we're still talking about. I'm still talking about Imrie having a chance to win this thing.
Hawthorne HP Cook into the pits.
Alright, there we go. So HP Cook can't serve that 3 seconds. Sorry, Huff can't serve the 3 seconds while he's here. It's track limits. He's away. And hard tyres for him, hard tyres for Cook as well. Both cars are away, nice and easy. JB into P7 there. Look at him go. RB looking for some good points here. 10th Cannon's into P9, so RB have been the quiet drivers in this race so far. Curtis and Ethan go side by side through turn 1. Ethan could better drive off up the hill and into P10 again. And that'll put my driver in front of yours, Ben. I'm just saying.
Here's a question. Look at Courtney.
Courtney into P6 there. I mean, whether he'll need to stop again, I think he may need to make one more. Not entirely sure here.
Let's make one more. But
Yes,
then so does the majority of the field.
I say the majority, at the very least, that top 5, I dare say, if those rules are being followed here, then I dare say they're going to need to make another 2 stops still, because they're still running on those tyres. And Grumio's in. Right, there we go. So there is one of the stops being made.
Here's a question for you, Zach. So, JB ended up pitting under that VSC, which eventually turned into a red flag. Would that have counted towards a 2? I'm guessing it would have. Towards that 2 mandatory pit stops.
To my mind, as he made his way through the pit lane before the VSC came out, before the red flag came out, and he didn't do it in that that sort of 40-second period, you know when the menu comes up on the red flag.
Yeah.
I'm guessing if he didn't do it then it wouldn't. Then yes, then it counts. I should think it counts based on my interpretation of the rules that are being put in play here.
I think some drivers are forgetting that it's Monaco and the walls are everywhere because we're starting to see passes. It's every single corner.
This is one of the most exciting Monaco races I've seen in quite some time, Ben, if I do say so myself, as Websy passing Chase side by side with Websy, going into Nouvelle, and that was very, very brave from both drivers going side by side towards that corner. AT in P4, Grumio now in P5 on a fresh set of mediums. I say
again, though.
Yeah, I think he needs to stop once more. Does Dan come in? Dan's coming in. Right. So this could be where all the hard tyre runners make their change. Chase stays out. Websy comes in. AT stays out as well. So just Websy. So Che now leads unbelievably. Che from P19 on the starting grid now leads the way in this Monaco Grand Prix, but still needs to stop at least one more time, I should think.
Yeah, so Che needs to stop twice.
Yes.
18 needs to stop twice. Guvio once. Wednesday once. Courtney once, who has now moved up into 5th.
I'm trying to show you this. Alvar is in the 6th spot right now. Ben, he has made 4 stops in this race. He made one on the first lap, if I'm not mistaken. He made that front wing change before the red flag came out. So I dare say he may stop again as well. PJ, I'm not entirely sure what his situation is, but Imri may still be the highest running driver to have made all of his stops.
Yes.
I'm just gonna put that out
Or it was PJ.
And he is still only about a pit stop or so behind Che in front. And he's about 18 seconds back from Grumio. So, what is the game plan now? We're 11 laps from the end, and I've still got no clue, truthfully, as to who's going to win this race.
Yeah, I don't think either is. There is down the inside of the hairpin goes the Aston Martin Wednesday, and there is contact, and there is a bit of damage to somebody. I don't know who it is. It is Wednesday. Or is it Cooks?
Yes, it is. I saw the decorate
Oh, yes, there it is.
Particularly colourful green and black end plate go flying off that car as Cannon holds the train at bay here. Imran going, I thought he was going to go for it again at Raskas, almost not learning his lesson from earlier on against Huff. But we're on to lap 20. We're on to lap 29 now, the score, if I'm not mistaken. Unless it's a change here. Nope. Lap 29 of the race. Che leads by 3.5 to 18.
Oh.
Grumio now in 2nd place.
Ethan's lost his front wing.
Oh. And down to and bottom of the order there. Ethan comes back in, and I dare say that might be it for us. Courtney Goblin's out. Crash.
Oh, Courtney, no.
And a safety car's out.
Courtney, no.
And that might change things. That may mean that these guys can get their stops in.
Well, that just may bore out the rest of the race. It'll be 10. So the people that are going to benefit from this will be the likes of 10th. Maybe Huff, Websy, both Hasses. So it's just bad news, isn't it? All round for, I guess you could say, for the majority of the teams. That's McLaren. Keats Albert are going to be a bit disappointed by this. But that's Monaco for you. As AT gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car.
There we go then. So caught by the Delta. And Imre
I know
stuck there. I'm sure
it sounds daft. But you get 15 seconds to respect the Delta and to come back. I know it's Monaco. And the Delta can be quite horrific. But it's 15 seconds. I don't know.
I couldn't tell you, mate, if I'm being completely honest with you.
I don't know.
It's been a long and it's been a draining race, I think, even from up here. So Grumio then emerges, having now completed 4 stops in this race. And out with the lead. Che is in second place, Dan in third, AT fourth, Webbsy then Imri. So it's looking as though, I mean, Grumio's on soft tyres. I'm not sure there's much coming back from this now. It's going to be big for anyone to try and capitalise. Che is still has 3 seconds. AT's got a drive through, so we should see him likely pull into the pit lane a lap after the restart, or on the restart. Not too sure as to what he'll do and how early he'll do it, rather. But as a safety car now picks the field up, it's been chaos, but I dare say things might be getting resolved in this race as Che pulls off the circuit.
I don't think we'll know exactly who wins until the steward report gets released tomorrow night.
I'm not entirely sure either. I mean, but saying that, Grumio has now made two stops in this race. So at this stage, he is fulfilling the rule that was set out and is still leading. And he's on a set of soft tyres now, so I wonder if this could be wraps potentially with 9 laps to go. It takes something big from the cars behind to do anything. But of course, Grumio may well get something perhaps from the stewards from the whole collision with him and Imri earlier on. We'll have to see what happens there. It could be a completely different winner in tomorrow's stewards report compared to tonight. It's been a whole thing tonight, Ben, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends.
Yeah, well, we've still got 10 laps of this, so we'll find out.
We'll have 8 to go when the safety car comes in, should it come in this time. But I doubt it will, because we've still got to wait for Ethan, Ericsson, Cook to catch up. I think mainly these two here. Ethan's about a minute behind Ericsson right now, according to this. Oh, no, sorry, he's a minute off the lead, apologies. There we go. Maybe change back to the...
Ethan's made 6 stops.
He's made 6.
Going for world record for the amount of pit stops.
Is it actually?
Yeah, he's made 6 pit stops.
Nah, Jensen Button made 6 stops and won the Canadian Grand Prix once, so I don't know what you're on about there.
Well, that's the first question, not from Ethan.
Okay, no, if he does that, then I will turn around and I will eat this Williams hat that I've got live on stream. Not on this one, I'll make a new stream for that. But
if Monaco, anything can happen.
I think we're beyond that at this stage, Ben, truthfully. I think as the laps wind down, the realm of possibility begins to slowly just sort of erode, if you know what I mean.
Nothing erodes until the final lap, final corner.
Whatever you say, man, whatever you say. So
Keep believing.
We'll go around for another lap, or wait, I'm guessing then for Ethan to catch up, as Ericsson's now finding his way up towards the front of the train. Both RBs in the points-paying places right now. Tent's got no penalties to her name. JB has got 1, but he's got 3 seconds. A number of cars have got 3 seconds. Alvar's got 9, so his chances to points are likely shot as Grumio and Alvar or trading places for a moment there. That's quite odd. Che now all of a sudden finds himself 2 seconds behind us, guys. As Dan now gets in. What are these two doing? They're side by side. What on earth are these two playing at up the hill? That's not at all sportsmanlike. They're not
allowed in the regulations.
I'm not sure if Dan was told to pass Grumio by the game, because it does that sometimes. If the leader in front goes slow, and Grumio's just tried to deny that, but that was weird. But Grumio still maintains his lead. Okay, right. So there'll be 7 laps left when we get the green here. So it's going to be a shootout.
We will eventually get going.
No. We get going this time. So Grumio likely will pull away on those soft tyres. However, we haven't seen him actually go for a decent period of time on the soft tyres. As to how long they'll last is a completely different story entirely here. So, what do you...
What do you do?
I'm running out of conclusions here, Ben, truthfully, in terms of how this race could end. I mean,
Hey.
Grumio looks set to win this thing now. He's made his stops and he's on a set of soft tyres, so looks to be the outright favourite. As the safety car comes in, it's going to be up to him now to pull out a big advantage. Try to close this race out. It'll be up to Imri to try and get himself on the podium. That'll be what he wants at most here. We're saying that. Che's got 3 seconds. AT's got a drive-through, so if he can get around Webbsy, that should clear it for a top 3 finish, or if not, to match that P4 from previous seasons. But Grumio will lead them round. About to get back underway.
Yep. Oh, one's into pits, and now it's AT.
AT taking advantage of that, making that drive-through now. As Grumio's waiting to go, as late as he can here. Literally waiting until the lines get going on again. Half penalty.
Oh.
Collision with JB.
No.
And we're back on the way again as 10th goes out wide. Maybe an lost of end plate there. Let's see if it's okay. Not too sure. Couldn't see it properly there. No damage done. We're back on the way then. But Grumio then want to try and get out of advantage chat. But can Dan and Che, Websy and Imri stick with him?
Soon find out.
And more importantly, can they find a way around him? I mean, Dan's...
Monaco?
Yeah?
Anything can happen. We've seen a number of overtakes around here, to be fair.
We've seen a lot of stuff going on here. Dan will need to go full balls to the wall here and throw the entire kitchen sink at it, along with several other appliances to have a chance of taking Grumio this late on in the race. I mean, his attacks have been fruitless so far over the course of the evening. It's been a case of just following him around with no real chance to overtake. Very similar to how Pope was in last season's race in the rain. And obviously Dan went on to win that day. So we'll see if there's any change at all. Websy and Imri are falling behind here, and that could be the end of their chances to win today. Che will still be looking to try and hold on for a podium finish. DRS in play. Dan is 6/10 behind now, so you go further behind in the order. It's all single file right now. And we see AT back in the pit lane here.
Off, making a move. And JB.
And he's going for it. Yep, Huff into the 9th spot. JB still holding on for that points pay in place, but HP Cook's behind both these two cars, both behind JB and Curtis, and may gain a good number of points here. He may gain up to P8 if he keeps himself in range here. Doesn't have to do anything too crazy. Just got to keep himself with PJ at minimum, and that should do it. So being at the back of this train will do him quite nicely, but I'm sure he'd like to go and take on 10th for the 7th spot. And up front, it's still all Dan and Grumio. Dan 4/10 behind. Che is a second back off Dan. Websy is second off of Che. And Imri 3 seconds back off Websy. It's been a disappointing evening for him, all things considered, at the end of things. And that red flag, I'm sure, he'll be wanting to wish that hadn't happened.
Yeah, I think Imri is the driver that gets zero luck.
At the very least,
They were
around
brought
this
back
circuit.
due to a red flag. Yeah, at least on the track. He's had 5 pole positions around here, including tonight. Not once has he finished on the podium. This time he's been let down by a red flag when he was gapping Grumio. It's just not meant to be, is it, for poor old Imri? But if he gets the podium, I think he'll be fairly happy with the recovery.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I think he knows that he would have had the pace to win tonight based on those first few laps we saw before the red flag came out, and a very odd red flag, I must say. I mean, the VSC I thought was sufficient in that sense, but we lost cars very early on, brought the red flag out. Ethan making the pass on Alvar. I dare say, I mean, Huff's got 13 seconds worth of penalties here. I may still win this, truthfully, Ben. Because if he even stays within 7 seconds of Huff, then I win. So.
Well, of course, I'm hoping the whole factory is able to pull off the right overtakes, but anything can really happen as Alvar gets another 3 seconds. Alvar, who's normally fairly good on track limits, seems to be struggling a bit tonight, I won't lie.
4 laps to go. Fastest lap once again for Grumio. And I'm wondering if there is much of a way back for Dan, who is obviously on worn medium tyres. Che is in fact closing in on him. Websy and Imri by themselves here. It's 3 seconds back to TJ, but 10th Cannon may well go for that 6th spot. She's got no penalties too, so she's got nothing left to fight for other than that place in the top 6 to get another 8 points to put her on 50 for the season. And she's in front of AT as well, so two more points would actually tie her with AT for 6th place in the championship. I thought she was going to go for it down the outside for a second, but not to be. JB there in P9, and still hopefully looking at perhaps some points on the board in the end. I think that truthfully, he may end up with the last point. I think Huff will lose out in the end, thanks to that 13 seconds. Oh, JB slides there. On corner exit, hits the inside wall, and Huff goes dancing through. Commentator's curse. I dare say once again.
Commentator's curse starts going. JB is having a bit of a moment now. He's had a bit of a moment going for Nouveau, and Curtis is through.
So JB down to P11 then. That may well end his chances of points. I can't help but feel slightly responsible for that in the end. But 10th, though, is still on some good points for RB, but will want that spot of TJ in the final 3 laps as Grumio heads for another victory here this season. Dan is sliding around here. I'm seeing the rear end a lot more twitchy, but at what point do Grumio's soft tyres start to fade? Of course, we've seen how soon the medium tyres have faded, but I mean, Grumio's tyre management... Oh, Alvaro, another change there, wing change on the car. Another set of soft tyres himself.
Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, how long will those soft tyres hang on for? I mean, there's no chance of Grumio gets a puncture later on, is there?
No.
Okay.
Unless Grumio hits the wall when we saw what we likely saw with Pope. Who knows?
It just feels
I don't know. I'm running out of conclusions here, though.
Bit more on edge, I think, is Grumio the last episode. The back end looked a little more twitchy compared to how it's been so far in this race. But yeah, I mean, these guys have been through a lot tonight. It's been a tough evening for a number of drivers. It's been just difficult to handle. Obviously, the announcement that was made mid-race in terms of the 2 stops, but Grumio's navigated it in the end. He's got his head down. He's still working hard, and will end up with a victory here, I should think. Unless, of course, he does experience some sort of late moment in the final 2 laps, as Dan still continues to hold off Che, but Dan's starting around himself a fair bit. So the medium tyres also running out as well. The defending winner looks to be going 2nd place on the road this time, unless, of course, there is one last cruel twist in the tail for one of these guys.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's all I can say to that. I don't really know what I could add on to that, but Grumio's done a fantastic job navigating what hasn't gotten necessarily right, including the first start. Obviously, he's been able to make amends for it on the second start, and then Dan ended up popping his nose and getting a move on him. The second red flag, the car park, everything thrown at Grumio today. He's coped with it very well.
He's got to hang on for just one more lap here. And he's got a 2.4 second advantage, 2.3 to Dan in 2nd place. Che is still in 3rd place with that penalty, but we'll still end up with 3rd in the end after he's brought a 6.4 second gap to Websy. Imri is equally 8.1 seconds behind, and it's just been an unpleasant evening for him in the end. But Grumio a lap away here from winning this thing. TJP 6th still, 10th still wanting that place off him, but we'll need to go for it for one last big send on this final lap. 80 penalty. So that won't obviously help his case as he tries to scrap for anything left in this race off of Ericsson. And we're seeing here just the things winding down after what has been a long and hard-fought evening from everyone here who's made it to the flag. Monaco isn't an easy race by any means. So for everyone who's going to make it to the flag, pat on the back for everyone. But one driver, as usual, has sort of risen above the rest here. As Che is still threatening Dan for that 2nd place, at least on the road. Doesn't really need to go for it, knows that there's nothing to gain realistically. But Grumio goes towards turn 12 for the last time. He's got one more sector to go, and it's been an evening for him, Ben. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's been one heck of an evening as he slightly grazes the wall on the entry into swimming pool. Round the Rascas, round the penultimate corner, round the final corner he comes. He wins it by 2.6 seconds in the end.
Checker flag is
back
up.
On top.
Grumio wins it then here in Monaco. Dan 2nd, Che in 3rd, Websy in P4 in the end. Fantastic drive from the Aston Martin team. And that's Websy more than doubling his points tally for the season. Imri will come home in 5th place. Gutted, no doubt, I'm sure, as his wait for a Monaco Grand Prix victory continues on, but remains unbeaten in qualifying. No one can match him in 1 lap pace. TJ home in 6th place, narrowly beating out 10th Cannon. How did the penalty stack up in the end then? Half over the line. 10th Cannon P6, HP Cook P7, so HP Cook P8, PJ 9th, Curtis in 10th, JB 11th, Ethan in P12, which means I win the predictions. Happy me. AT in 13th, Ericsson, then half in P15. I dare say it doesn't tell the whole story. It's had a very eventful debut. And Alvar in P16. So, I mean, Ericsson's been put down as a retirement, but he finishes in P15. And that will do it then. Very, very, very chaotic race. I think beyond what we expected. And in the words of Ethan in the Discord chat there, Ben, that was, for all intents and purposes, a Monaco.
Oh, brilliant. Good on you.
So Grumio then on top. We'll see how things change post-Stewart report tomorrow night. But these will be the results we run with for the moment. Grumio the winner. Dan in 2nd. Che in third. Che, fair play to him for P19 to P3, Verstappen-esque in tonight's race. Never taking advantage of all that went on around him. And just enjoyable to watch, at least on our end. We'll call it that. And we'll just have to see here what the verdict is for everyone after a very, very difficult race for a lot of drivers in the order. We'll go through your final results if you get a chance here. Grumio wins it from Dan and Che in second and third. Websy P4, Imri takes home P5 in the end. TJ 10th, HB Cook, PJ courtesy your top 10. JB P11, Ethan P12, AT P13, Huff P14, Alvar in P16, Ericsson P15 but retired at the end. There's Cottony, Lucky, DJ and Pope go down as your retirees in this race. And Ben, truthfully, there's nothing more we can say really that hasn't already been said. It's been a race. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's a typical Monaco.
Yeah,
there's chaos absolutely everywhere.
I mean, this is sort of chaos beyond what I've seen in quite a while here. If I'm completely telling the truth. I mean, we have races before where we had less than 10 finishers, and I put this up sort of same level with that. We have got one arrival already. Daniel Aaron has joined us. P2 in the end for Dan. Dan, solid drive today. Grumio in the end a few tenths in front at the flag, but pace was strong throughout. But that was a chaotic one, to say the very least. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't think there's any other word for it. That was a bit of a mess between Imri and Grumio. I had a very good view of it. We'll have to see what the stewards say tomorrow. I spit 6 of 1, half a dozen. For me, the other really, I don't really see how. I think both parties could have done something to avoid the accident. We'll have to see how they view it. But coming into today, my pace in Q1 was off. My pace in 2Q fell off. I had to quickly do a run on a new set at the end. Clutched up in P3. Just a bit like last season. Put yourself in the best position possible, and you'll get a good result out of it.
I did want to ask you just quickly about that. What you saw on the restart. Were you hoping between Imri and Grumio to get a bit of deja vu from last season to sort of slide on through if those two collided? Was that the game plan?
Yeah, I saw. I think it was Imri who started on the hards and Grumio on the mediums. I thought they're going to be side by side at one point, and then they were side by side all the way up the hill. And just a bit of a mess really between them both. I ended up having to make a move on Imri because I think he got floor damage out of it. So yeah, we'll have to see what the stewards say. I'm not going to be too disappointed if Grumio doesn't get a penalty, because I think P2 at the end of the day is still a very good result for me.
I mean, around Monaco, it's definitely not a disappointing one at all. I mean, obviously the mandatory 2-stop was in play. Obviously, things were thrown a bit into chaos in terms of the 2 red flags over the course of the Grand Prix. Handling that, was there sort of, did you have to make a lot of changes to what I'm guessing was your initial plan?
I was going to go with the same strategy I did last season: hard, medium, hard. Try and get a bit of an undercut on the hard and the medium just to get track position. But it was. Everyone was swapping tires and doing a whole bunch of different strategies after the 2 red flags. It was really hard to keep track. So it was definitely fun from that perspective, trying to track what everybody was doing and how it was unfolding.
And I'll ask as well, in terms of going into next week's race, Spain next week, another 100% Grand Prix. Is that one we're looking forward to, or one we'd rather wait till next week for that one?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I got P2 in Spain last season, but I was quite fortunate with a safety car, and season before that got a little bit stuck behind Imri for P4 in the end. So it's not a track that I particularly favour. I just need a little bit of fortune to come my way, and I hope that it being a 100% sort of does favour me as well a little bit.
Have to see what goes down next time. Well, good job on the second place finish. Dan, obviously another fantastic drive from you, but we can't expect any less really at this point. And we'll come now to 10th Cannon, who in the end winds up P7 from P16 on the grid. 10th, where do you keep on banging these results out from? I've got to ask you.
First of all, it was P16. Second of all, I don't know. I completely backed into that one. I got lucky with a couple of safety cars. Unlucky with most of them, but lucky with the last one. I was able to pit under it for hards, and I just didn't let PJ pass me, and that was kind of it, really. Not really much to say on it, to be honest.
I mean, you spent a good portion of the race sort of in the mid-pack fighting for for position there? I mean, we saw you trying to. Was there a chance of you getting TJ at the very end of the race? Because I thought I saw you going for that a few times.
Well, I gave it a go, but he was too fast in the end. He was just he It's Monaco. It's very easy to defend, and he was just better than I was. So I got to hold up my hands and say fair enough. And I did, however, spend a good few laps behind his teammate, which I know was a talking point going into this race. Didn't get into any incidents beside one where he spun in front of me, which is quite funny. He spun in front of me and took my wing off. But nah, I'm not mad about it. I got points in the end.
Speaking of the points in the championship, those 6 points should tie you with AT for P6 in the Drivers' Championship. Is that something we're proud of? Something we can maintain in the next few races?
I hope so. He's by far and away the better driver than me, but I think if I can get some good luck, then who knows? Maybe I'll be able to do it. Like I say, he's definitely faster than me, but I think he's missed 1 or 2 races while I've attended everyone. So maybe maybe I'll get it.
And talking of next races, going into Spain next week, what's the outlook on that one?
It's going to be quite a happy race, I think, because this was my first race back last season after my pseudo retirement. I like this track. I think it flows well. I think it goes into my I think it kind of falls into my wheelhouse a bit. I'm hoping I can just make it out of Q1 because I haven't really been doing very well in quali recently, and I kind of want to stop doing that because as much as these drives through the field are quite fun, I'd rather start at the front than have to drive all the way up there.
We'll have to wait and see how that goes next time out. Obviously, good job on once again finding the points 10th, and we'll see if we can carry on that streak another week. And we'll come now, last of all, to HB Cook, who winds up P8 at the Checkered Flag. And again, same sort of thing. I mean, it's been it was a chaotic one. I'd love to hear your take on what went down today.
Well, I'm going to say this in a way without actually getting into trouble. I think people need to look at themselves after that race and just realise that we're actually racing side by side and it's not just them on track. I had a decent start, stayed in the train with people, then got forced off by a driver I'm not going to name, which obviously got me orange floor damage, so as you can expect, performance just totally went. Pitted, came back out, got front wing damage off somebody else, pitted again, then safety car came out at wrong time. And then we just had people doing about 2 miles an hour in Middlesex to doing a massive DRS train where pretty much anyone could have been killed, even at restart as well. So chaotic is the way I'd mention it, but I think if that's how we're going to do it at Monaco, then something seriously needs to be looked at because 2 red flags, 2 safety cars and stuff like that, it can't happen, in my opinion.
Very outspoken there. No, I hear you on that front. In terms, I did want to ask a bit more depth in terms of what you saw on that late restart, in terms of the sort of running up to the line before getting underway. I did want to ask your take on that.
So I was at the back. Obviously, I think with Alvar and Ericsson after obviously a bit for the front wing damage. And from our POV, it looked like Grumio went through the final corner. So obviously you full throttle it. So obviously you think, right, leader's done. Let's try and get a jump on the car's head. And then all of a sudden everyone just stacked up like he went and then slowed down, which if he did, that is a very dangerous move. It's very dangerous to do. And if that's the case, then it should be sorting. But I think, obviously, I'm not going to say if it was him or not, because I can't see the leader myself. But when you're back and then everyone looks like it's gone, then everyone's checking up and trying to avoid each other, and there's nearly a 4-car pile up. It's very hard to try and do. And I think somebody did get damage, I believe. I think it might have been Alvar at turn 1, where I think he just got hit. So it's very chaotic, as I said. Very, very interesting, I think, from my perspective. And I think the less said about some of the stuff that I've seen tonight, the better.
If I bring these over to a look at the Constructors' Championship, 14 points gained for you and Imri over at Sauber today. And I mean, Dan gained a few points on you guys. Are you concerned about the threat of Mercedes in P4 at all?
Yeah, I think Mercedes are a good team. Like you always got to give credit to every team that's in here. So we're all racing against each other. I think today was a missed opportunity for both me and Imri. Both got involved in incidents during the race, which I don't think realistically it was our fault, but racing happens. You're always going to get involved in incidents. But no, I think, yeah, you don't look at Mercedes. They're strong. Dan's been very strong recently, but you've got to back yourself and said, actually, they're good, but we can be even better. We can beat them. So it's just every teamwork between me and Imre for the rest of the season.
Love the confidence on that front. And then moving more short term in terms of next week's race in Spain, what's the outlook there? Is he looking at some more points?
Hopefully, but yeah, obviously on this game is crap, and I think from back to last season, I think I got a bit annoyed myself because obviously I think I could have got a bit higher. I think I finished outside points, but I don't know. Spain is one of them. Let's see how I turn up on day. If I turn up good, then points. If I don't, then I don't know what to expect myself.
Just have to wait and see as to what goes down. Well, good job on the points today. Obviously, quite a chaotic one, but well done for navigating your way through it. And obviously, well done to everyone who made it to the checker flag in today's race. Ben, anything more to add before we sign off, or are we sort of spent in that sense?
No, it's just my vocabulary just does not comprehend what I've just witnessed.
It was definitely an exciting one from our end. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Next week's race will be the Spanish Grand Prix, our third 100% Grand Prix of the season, taking place on the 26th of January. Same time, same place on the Zach RC channel. Thank you all so much for watching tonight's race. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future audio content. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.